And good afternoon. Welcome to the booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590. Thank you for making us part of your day. My next guest, Mr. Andrew Webster, has a new program that I'm really excited about and I want to talk about. It's the Kickstart Academy here in Kennett. Andrew Webster, welcome to the booth.
Hey, yeah, thanks a bunch. I'm glad to be here. This is really fun and cool.
Would you prefer that I called you Andrew? What do you go by?
Yeah, Andrew would be good.
Andrew?
Yeah, that's fine.
Andrew, tell the listeners a little bit about Andrew Webster.
Well, I grew up in Dexter, Missouri, and then that was, I guess, a long time ago now, but played sports, played football, was involved in other stuff. Me and my siblings would go to church. Mom would come sometimes off and on, and Dad not so much. And then played sports, like I said. Went on to go to Arkansas State, and I was going to play there, and I'd filled out all the paperwork and everything. And then just on the day I was supposed to turn it in, something happened in my head, and I just didn't do it. And so then I just worked in the office for that year, and then went and played college football at Central Methodist, and then ended up graduating. I met my wife, believe it or not, like this was like right before social media really took off. So like a literal blind date. Like it was the neatest thing. Like I had no idea what she looked like. You know what I mean? And hit it off, man. It was really neat. Married Mindy in 2008, and I started coaching football. I coached as an assistant a couple years before that. And then in 2008, I was the head football coach of a program. I was only like 23. In hindsight, like, whoa, you know, like what was I doing? But I guess when you look at that, like I never been afraid to like take big chances and go for it, you know, like because when you fail, most of the time, what's the worst thing that happens? Well, you're just right back close to where you were anyway. So you might as well go for it, I guess, you know. It's worked out for me anyways, kind of. But so I coached up there for some years, then moved to another school, and I was head football coach and done lots of things. And then I came to Kennett in 2016, and I worked with Coach Pixley for a year as an assistant, and Coach Penn. We both did offense that year. And then the first go-around when Coach Wyatt was here, I was defensive coordinator for all that big run. 2019 was such a special year. Just to be a part of it, that those kids were so good and so competitive. But the cool thing about the 2019 was we allowed the fewest amount of points of any school in the state of Missouri for that season. You know, we made it to the semifinals, and that was just something special. Met some great kids. Then I got to be the head football coach, and then that was really cool. And then, you know, now I'm not doing that coaching stuff. I moved over into more of you know, the Methodist church where I go to church, and they had me be the youth director. And I thought that was cool, and started doing that. And then that kind of led into Kickstart. But the thing I left out, and I intentionally wanted to come back, was Jobs for America's Graduates. For here in Kennett, I was the JAG teacher, and I still am a JAG teacher. It's just at a different thing. So like Jobs for America's Graduates is like if there was ever a school program that had teeth in it where you could, if you did it right, you could visibly see the difference in real time with kids. And man, that's cool. Like, and if you don't do it right, then like you don't see it, but like everything's there for everyone to have success with it. And anywho, and it all feeds into the Kickstart thing. It's the reason I'm still talking about it. So I did that for from 2017 until 2020 through this spring at Kennett at the high school level. So they have like a high school model, an alternative school model, and a middle school model. But anyways, so with those models, I did the high school model here in Kennett, and we were wildly successful. Seriously, like we were winning national awards with it. We were all kinds of stuff. And I say we because it really is we, because if you don't have the admin to do it the right way, or the counselors or just anything, you can't do it. But man, doing that and being a part of that, and then seeing that difference, and then realizing that if you have the teeth and you do the work, like I am capable of helping do those things, it kind of makes you want to keep doing it. And so then when my stuff changed and I moved to the alternative school to try to work on that, I was worried that the JAG stuff was going to go away for me. And I didn't want that to happen because we could see the differences, you know?
Right.
And so with that, that's why that was part of the reason why we created Kickstart Academy. You know, my wife's in it with me, and my brother's helping me, and my mom, and then the kids and my own kids. But because I thought for sure that if we take some of those things, because dude, the JAG you're supposed to teach them 36 things in JAG,
right?
And with that, they're all like things that go for anything. Like none of them's like just business specific or anything.
Sure.
And so they help the kids. You know, it's like helping you be a better person. So like anyone could benefit from it. And so that was why I was like, yo, let's start this thing and let's see if we can take some of those core things, add a little Jesus to it, and see what we can come up with. And that's kind of what we did.
And again, we're going to welcome the booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Andrew Webster, talking about the Kickstart Academy. Andrew's a native of Dexter, went and played at Central Methodist University, coached in the area for years, did an outstanding job. Let's talk a little bit about something that you talked about while you were introducing yourself. You indicated that you met your wife, Mindy, on a blind date. I don't think anybody under probably 45 maybe knows what a blind date is with these phones and all these apps nowadays. Explain to me what a blind date is, Andrew.
Yeah, so dude, you're just like someone you made a phone call. So like I went here's how ours set up anyways. I went with some friends to a haunted house, and one of Mindy's friends, like from high school, was like, we were 20 then. And so, I mean, shoot, man, just babies now. Like you think when you're 20, you're like, oh man, we're so big. But dude, looking back on it now, I was like, you know, when your own daughter's almost 15, man, you realize how like young you were at 20. But anyways, she was like, hey, you should go on a date with this girl. And then I was like, yeah, all right, I'll go on a date with, you know, I guess about anybody. And then if it sucks, I just won't go on another date with her. I'll at least talk to her. And so we talked on the phone, and this is a really neat part. Like you may not even believe this, but I can tell you for sure that, okay, on October 27th, at the exact time that the Red Sox beat the Cardinals in the 2004 World Series, was when I talked to Mindy the first time on the phone. Okay?
This is like a Goodwill Hunting moment,
dude, it's weird.
isn't it?
Dude, you're about to hear the weirdest part of it, okay? It gets weirder, okay? So October 27th, 2004, and I'm standing on the bank of the lake at Fayette, and she calls me on the phone and is like, hi, I'm Mindy, you know, and we were talking. And I was like, hey, at the time I was like, my favorite team won the World Series. I was really rooting for Boston back then, you know, but I wasn't super excited on the phone. And she was like, well, why aren't you more excited? And I was like, well, they beat my other favorite team, the Cardinals, so I kind of feel weird about it. But here's where it gets weird, okay? So literally our oldest daughter, Ariel, she's a freshman this year. She was born October 27th, 2010. So 6 years to the day, Ariel was born after I met Mindy on the phone. So it's just wild stuff like that. You know, I don't know. Like
that is interesting.
I know. And I guess the only reason we would even know is because it was such a big moment in history when, you know, like the Curse of the Bambino or whatever, you know. So that's such a weird thing. But yeah, it's cool.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Andrew Webster. A little bit about the Kickstart Academy that he started here in Kennett. Andrew is a native of the Dexter area. Andrew, do you still have some family up in Dexter?
Well, it's kind of weird. Not a lot now. They kind of moved down here. They moved down here too. My mom and my brother moved down here. And on my mom's side, they're kind of spread out. And when my dad was born, his dad was like really, really old. And so, like not quite like Theo Vaughn's dad, like not that old,
not
but like
72.
Yeah, not quite that old,
yeah.
but still pretty old. And so most of them have, you know, kind of moved on or passed on or whatever. But so yeah, we're pretty much all just down here, kind of rocking in Kennett, you know.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590. Very excited to talk to Andrew Webster. Andrew, talk a little bit about the Kickstart Academy. You indicate it's a lot like JAG, but with Jesus. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. And so what it was really me sitting in my garage, to be honest. I was sitting out there and I was just thinking about like all the things, because like, man, we changed some lives with JAG. Like seriously, like in order to, okay, so like JAG like connects, like, okay, so to be in JAG, a kid has to have barriers to success. They have to have a minimum of 6 barriers out of like these 30 that you can choose from. And some of these are their fault, and some of them are just like the situation that they're brought up in. And I think back to when Marshall Rogers lived with us, and he was a JAG kid, and that kid, when he moved in, it was a weird scenario that led to him moving in. But when he moved in, he just had an air mattress and like somehow he had an Xbox. You know how teenagers are. I don't know. Somehow he had an Xbox and an air mattress and a little TV and a couple bags of clothes. Well, now Marshall, through programs we've made with JAG, like we partnered with Nucor, so we've had like there's other kids like, but Marshall Rogers is almost a grade 6 at Nucor, making $100 and something thousand a year, and at 17 years old, the kid was homeless before he moved in with us. And it was weird because, him or like one of the Kickstart kids, Delia Perry, like sometimes kids are great and they have great qualities just in spite of the things that, are involved in their lives. And like, but sometimes it takes like a mediator almost to see it, like in some kids. And it ain't all kids. Like some kids, by the time they get to high school, man, unfortunately, it almost seems like they're broke. Like you can't, you just can't make the horse drink the water. But with, those ones that still want it, and you can see it when you talk to them, and they're willing to put the effort in, and they got that light in their eyes, like you can do it. But anyways, back to what you were saying, I needed you to know that so that you knew, what I was talking about made sense. So with Kickstart, we saw those things like where Marshall could do that. And then through the Methodist Youth Ministry, I would see how like people, or, teenagers, but really it's adults too. Like, I think it's just people, but we see it with teenagers. Like there's so much when you start talking about religion, like there's so much to it. Like what if you never been to a church, like, what if you never been that? And we have a lot of people here like that, like in our town, like, then those people, they don't know, but then they're like, hey, it's kind of intimidating to be like, hey, come to our big church. And then you're somebody that maybe lives in a small house, and you're like, man, I don't know. That seems kind of, that's a lot. And so like, we're just like a baseline thing. That's why I said, like, we just use the red words in the Bible to kind of build our little curriculum for the kids and the stuff we talk about, because like, that's just supposed to be straight from Jesus. Like, so that's not, and most people don't argue a ton about that. And so that way, maybe people could come and learn a little bit about Jesus if they wanted to. And if they didn't want to, they'll still have a good time, and the kids will learn stuff. And anyways, it's kind of like, so they could come figure it out in a non-scary way, I guess. And then if they wanted to go to a church after that, like, great, that's, then maybe they'll feel like ready to do it, or less scared to do it, just try to make a difference that way.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Andrew Webster a lot about the Kickstart Academy that he is kind of fostering and developing here in Kennett. Andrew was a long-time JAG instructor. And you touched on a topic that I think is very, very, very interesting. One of the best jobs in all of the area is that working for Nucor or some other steel mill or some other, subsidiary down there. And you indicated that you went out and you contacted Nucor, I'm thinking, and somehow you developed some kind of internship program. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Kind of explain to the listeners a little bit about that, because, a lot of people in this area says, well, I can't find a good job. There's no good paying jobs for me. I can't be successful here. Is it a lot of it you have to want to work hard to get those kind of jobs?
Yeah. You have to, you got to look at it from the employer's perspective, like put yourself in their shoes. Like they just need they need people that's going to show up and, not steal or not sleep or not just sit there on their phone the whole time or not wreck their equipment. That's what they're looking for. And so can you be one of those people, or are you willing to be one of those people for whatever pay they give you? Like sometimes I think we complicate everything so much, not you, but like just in the world, there's like stuff everywhere. And it's like, well, wait a minute, like let's reduce this down to what it really is. And then you could figure it out. But I'll tell you the truth about the Nucor thing. And up until maybe, if this Kickstart thing works the way we think it can, and the way it's starting to, I think this could be up there with that Nucor thing, because it'd be right here in Kennett and we could really help. But okay, let's talk about this Nucor. Like this was the best thing. So like, okay, so Nucor already had what was called a New Path program, but they only had it in Blytheville. And so they were only getting Blytheville kids. but like they weren't having a lot of success. Like they would bring in 10 kids and maybe one or two of them would finish the program and stuff, or they couldn't bring in 10 because they couldn't find 10 that would pass a drug test. Like seriously, it was rough for a while. And so there was a window. So Tony Parker, he is the manager now at Rabin Tire here, and he's a back manager at Rabin Tire in Kennett. And his kid played football for me, Evan Parker, who was a really good football player. Tony came to me and he said, "Hey, let's go talk to this guy at the melt shop." Just tour the company. You know, he said, they said they were complaining about not finding the workers and the success of the program. So Tony goes, "Man, I got a guy. We got a program talking about JAG." So he calls, said, "Andrew, come down here and let's talk to," I think his name was Mark at the time. I said, "All right." So me, Jeff Berry, who's a big employer guy with Jobs for America's graduates now. So like for real, like if there's a business listening to this that wants to get a partner with JAG, they probably should just contact Jeff Berry through Jobs for America's graduates. And they have the keys to all these kids. Like they have the keys to the kids that want to stick around here and work, and you know, that don't just want to leave and run off, you know. But anywho, so we went down there and I had a meeting with him, and Logan Dollins went with me because Logan's our middle school JAG instructor. So we go down there and we tour the whole plant. It was awesome. And we sit down there and we're talking, and he's like naming the things that they need, which was the things I said earlier. And I said, "Oh, we have a high school program that literally teaches the kids those things, and then we can send them off into the workforce." And he was like, "No, seriously." And I was like, "Yes, like this program does this, this, and this. It answers this, this, and this problem." And so what happened was he goes, "All right." So they gave us a chance to become part of the new course. So then they even dubbed it the new course / JAG internship, and it was awesome. And so the first year, Marshall Rogers was the kid that lived with me. He ended up getting that. He was actually our vice president, and he got to go to Orlando for a week through JAG. I mean, all these wonderful things. And anyway, so he was one that got it, and Michaela Robinson got it. And we had another young man that year that got it, but he was the only ones out of 5 or 6 that didn't quite make it. And he just wasn't ready. I think if he was a year older or just a little bit more experienced, he would have made it too. And then the next year, we got 2 more on the program, and both of them. And so, okay, so we take 5 or 6 people, and some, like in all but one of them was like receiving government assistance, right?
All right.
And so now, as long as they just go to work and do what they're supposed to do, which all of them are, they've all been bidded on now, and they're all working for the company like a real job that gets them bonuses and everything. All they have to do is just go to work and do what they're supposed to, and they'll never be in poverty again, ever. And you know who else won't? Their kids won't. So we contributed to that. I'm not taking credit for it. Like, you know, it was cool that we made the thing. You know, they still had to go do the work and everything, but like that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Like we could all do stuff similar like that, like where we both win. Like you just have to be willing to fail some, like, cause it's not going to be 100%. Like I told you, one of the kids we had didn't pan out, but we're rolling at like 80% success rate with it. And then what happened was another school in Blytheville like upped their game, and then Blytheville upped their game. So like their kids started making it. So then 2 years later out, they kept the KIP Academy took our 2 or 3 spots on that New Path program. So right now we don't have one of those with them, but man, at the time it was something special. But before that, right? So like when we first came to Kennett, like 2018, we had a partnership with Parker Hannafin right here in town, where JAG kids would work there in the evenings to help them fill like their second or whatever shift they had.
Right.
And so like it doesn't have to be like Nucor massive, but like you could be just a regular thing. And then it gets even crazier. Okay, so every county in Missouri, this is stuff we just learned from JAG. I'm giving out some of my secrets here, but like, okay, so every county in Missouri through their workforce development office is eligible for these funds. Okay. So our Kickstart kids, the ones who can get paid through that, like I went to the workforce development and got them signed up through that program, right? And then workforce development pays the wages for the kids that are on that program that work for me. So that's how we were able to like start this, because I was like, man, I coached until June, you know, or May or whatever. And so it wasn't like I had a business that I could just pull these people into. So we created Kickstart Academy to help them. And then I was like, okay, so what are we going to do? And so then we were like, well, we're going to like host cool events for the community, because the town's always like, well, there ain't nothing to do except the same old things. I was like, well, we need to host events. Like, it was just a win-win thing. Like, we need like things to do to like, so like today they're selling tickets, like they're learning to talk to people. But anywho, like it just kind of morphed into this beautiful thing. And every time I'd be like, I don't know, it almost feel like God was like, no, like you're going to do it. And it's weird how he'd show me. It would be like something would make me feel like, man, because when you're brand new, like, I took some life insurance money out to start it. And like, I believe in it. Like, I've watched it happen in real life with Jag and sports. And I just think we could do it together. And then you got to think, like, Darren, this is the thing that's interesting to me. So let's say there's 10,000 people that live in Kennett, give or take, kind of in that about where we're at.
Right.
So let's say 50% of them go to church, which is probably a high number, but let's just say 50% go to church or they're involved with their church, right? So that's still at least 50%. So that would still be 5,000 people in our community who don't have a place to find out about God, or don't have like what if they wanted to do community service? Like, what if those people, like, you can't just think that because they're not in church, they're all just sitting there being bad. I mean, I'm sure some of them are, but not everybody. And then you go, well, how could they volunteer in their community? They need somewhere to volunteer, which there's Helping Hand and things like that. But like this, they could support this and have a great time at the same time. And like, let's say, I mean, we'll get into the events or whatever, but like, let's say at our event, like, this is what I was trying to think. I was trying to answer problems when we were having the fun events. So let's just say let's start the breakfast first on November 1st. Okay. We have this big breakfast. Okay. So we're having biscuits and gravy, eggs, bacon, and sausage, all on November 1st. Okay. And for breakfast. And we have a concert on there at the same time. And so your kids will have the blow-ups coming in. Like, Jeff Layden's got his big blow-ups that he bought from Trenton Patterson. So he's bringing some blow-ups in to help with the community. So you'll have places for your kids to go play. We'll have people supervising the places. And then we have Nelson Pettigrew coming in from St. Louis. And, I mean, this guy is 10 out of 10. Let me make sure I said it right. I believe that's right. But anyways, he's coming in and he's a saxophone player. So you'll get to come in. So let's say you wanted to have a date, but you have kids. All right. So you send your kids you all eat breakfast. You listen to the saxophone player. You send your kids to go play on the blow-ups, and you get to sit there with your spouse and listen to this awesome saxophonist play live music, all for $10 a person for 2 hours. And then there's other Kickstart games going on at the same time. But like together, like, we could do it because there's good people out there that want to help donate, and there's good things. And so that's just a breakfast. And then in the evening, like, there's another event in the evening. So for like, okay, so my brother always goes to WrestleManias. Like, right. He loves WrestleMania.
Right.
And because he has cerebral palsy. And so like for him traveling like far away, like on his own, like that's not good. So I always get to go for free because he just saves up and I get to go with him. So dude, I've seen all kinds of cool stuff.
Right.
But so when we go to these wrestling things, like one of the best times is before the show even starts, because they have like these really cool pre-parties everywhere, and like, so like ours can't have alcohol or nothing because like, we're a youth ministry, but like all the other fun things that happen there are going to be here for this pre-party for this show in Kennett. And so like, so we booked the all American Hostile Championship Wrestling to come and do a show. And so 2 hours before the show on November 1st, you can get supper. So anyways, it's a combo deal. So if you pay $25, you can get supper, and then you have access to, I mean, there's a lot of things. So the blow-ups will still be there. Okay, so supper, blow-ups. They're automatic entry into the wrestling, dress like a wrestler costume contest. There's going to be wrestling trivia with my brother and Nick Arnett and some of these other people who are just like big, wrestling right. heads up there. And then games again. There'll be a DJ there. And then you get your ticket for your show included as well. So for $25. So literally, Aaron, for $35, you could get 6 hours worth of entertainment on November 1st, right here in Kennett.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590. Talking to Andrew Webster from the Kickstart Academy, talking about the event November 1st. It'll be a breakfast. in which we'll also have a saxophonist, Nelson Pettigrew, will come play. There's also be blow-ups available for the children, and at that evening, there's going to be a wrestling event for those who want to come out and watch some wrestling. There will also be a pre-party for the individuals who want to dress as wrestlers, bring their kids dressed as wrestlers, things of that nature. Where's that event going to take place, Andrew?
At the American Legion building. And and I was right. It is Nelson Pettigrew, but at the American Legion building that day. And it's just been one thing. It's like, like if you build it, they will come, kind of like what Lions Club's trying to do with, with the movie night on Tuesday. They're just trying to have it and see what happens. So theirs is a free movie night, and I'm sure they'll sell concession or whatever. But like, if we all just kind of work together a little bit, like, man, who knows what we can accomplish, And
I know I was looking on your Facebook there, and you indicated that you're the youth minister there at the First United Methodist Church here in Kennett. I think you even indicated that you had a wiffle ball tournament here recently, did you?
Well, we attended one. It's actually pretty neat. The Bridge Youth Ministry out of, and I think we played it in Cenis, so I'm guessing they're down that way. But we went down there. The people who, the youth ministers are the people that work or own at Hobbs, the Hobbs. Anyways, and so they had the wiffle ball tournament, and we went down there, and First Baptist went down there, and man, it was cool because it was just a fun day. Like, that's the things I like. Like if you wanted to come to our event or whatever. Like, the thing I like about it, which made track so special when we were coaching track at high school, like, it just didn't matter. Like, all the stuff that usually didn't matter. Like, people felt like just a part of it. And then it was so cool because it didn't matter like how much money you made or how much your parents made or what neighborhood you lived in or what skin color you were. Like it was just cool. Like, we were all just cool and everybody was having fun. And I like that. Like, when you foster an environment where that can grow, man, it's really special. And that's what was cool about JAG. Like JAG's like that, track was like that, and just I don't know. It just feels different when you're involved in it, when you're in there. And
again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Andrew Webster from the Kickstart Academy, a big event, November 1st. Breakfast will be served. What time is the breakfast going to start, Andrew?
From 8 to 10 that morning.
8 to 10 that morning, and then Nelson Pettigrew will come in and play some saxophone. Be an outstanding time. There'll be blow-ups available for the children. And then there's going to be a wrestling event that evening. What time is the wrestling event going to take place?
So the pre-party is going to start at 5. And then the real show starts at 7:30. So there'll be like a little bit where people go in, but the pre-party will last at least an hour and a half to 2 hours there.
And that's some of the events. And we're talking to Andrew Webster from the Kickstart Academy. Andrew, if you had to describe or define what the Kickstart Academy is in your own words, kind of explain to the listeners, what is the Kickstart Academy?
Kickstart Academy, to me, is it takes the... I've always said that everybody should learn the JAG stuff or have the access to those core principles that they teach. And so it takes those similar principles, the things that help you be a better person, the things that help you learn and care about yourself, the trauma-informed care, it helps build you up. And then with Kickstart, it helps with the Jesus part of it as well. It helps kickstart people's lives, like, in the direction that they would want it to go. Like, because we're providing opportunity for these kids. And we've had a couple come in, that come in and they see what we're doing, and there's a lot to it, and it didn't work out for them. It was like too much, for them. But we've had, like, most of them, when they come in, like, it's a safe place where they could learn and grow and then connect to other employers or connect to a church. Like, so basically we're taking the people who out there maybe are harder to reach, or maybe they're just kids who need a hand up, not a hand out, but like a hand up. And we're connecting them to God, and we're helping connect them to the skills that they need to go get a first job, to go make it out there in the world. We're just trying to connect the dots to both of those. Like, so we're kind of like the middleman, or like the kindergarten of both of those entities. Like, we're giving you the basics. We're teaching you how to act and how to do these things in this setting, and then hopefully helping them move on to where they want to go.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Andrew Webster about the Kickstart Academy. And Andrew, one thing I'm kind of sitting there thinking, is there an age requirement? Is there a limit? What kind of age are these individuals who you're getting in this academy to try to get them kick-started towards being successful adults?
Yeah, and so like and it's all kind of new, you know. So we're still working with it. So we originally started with the program part, like I was telling you earlier, you know, because we partnered with Workforce Development to begin with, and so their ages were 14 to 24, and so that's kind of what we started with. Now we haven't had anybody over 21. We've had 2 kids that have been 21 to try to come in and learn and connect them, and one of them still with us, and then we've had. A couple of different ages. We've had some 18, some 17. We've had 2 14-year-olds. And so, yeah, that's kind of where we are. So I would say probably 14 to 24 with it.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Andrew Webster from the Kickstart Academy. And Andrew, I guess my next question, it kind of leads me to, where do you find these individuals who become part of Kickstart Academy?
Yeah, that's a good question. And a couple different places, actually. So the original ones, like the very first ones, were just kids that were in JAG before, that were still going to be in JAG at the high school, and I wasn't going to be there with them. And then because I'm at the alternative school, you know, over at Arrowhead Academy. And so it was just a few of them. So that's where I found the original ones. And then since then, we've had parents reach out to me. We've had kids reach out to me about trying to do it. You know, we can't take everybody, and we're still trying to, like, you know, figure out exactly how big or how small and what we can handle right now. But with it, you know, it's been pretty good so far with it. So I would say, you know, we've got 4 right now that are really getting after us. We have a couple that come on like only when we do the events, you know. So like maybe like there's a younger one. There's like I told the one kid, he's a 13-year-old, but he comes to Methodist Youth and he really wants to do it and be a part of it. And so he gets to come and help, but only on events. And he's just a volunteer, you know, like not everybody comes and gets paid. You know, some of them come and just get skills, and some of them come and just help because it's fun. And I will say this, though. It has opened up some more ideas for some stuff at the alternative school at Arrowhead over there, because then I start talking to those kids just about things, and it's different over there. And, you know, you start looking at some of the reasons that they got there. Not necessarily what they did to get there, but what created the reason for them to act in the behavior that they did to get there. You know, like we always so much look at only the behavior, and we never look at the root cause of the behavior. You know, like if you spilled a bag of nails on your road, you know, like at the back of your driveway, and then you never pick up the nails, and then you keep going to get your flat tire fixed. Sometimes I think the world is like that. Like instead of just picking up the nails, we run over them and we have to get, like, you know, a whole bunch of new tires. And so, but the problem is, here's where it really lies. Like, I mean, we can talk about some real stuff for real here. Like the problem lies with it is that they just say, when you say, well, what caused the behavior? People always say, well, you're just making excuses. And I don't think that's the case. Like some people use it that way. Like, well, they did this. But if you look at the cause of the behavior, just like we talked about, and then you attempt to pick up the nails, like maybe you don't get all the nails, but you get some of them nails at the end of your driveway, right? And so then you have less flat tires. And then over time, maybe more nails get picked up because you picked up a few. And then you see what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
And so, but I've ran into life so many times, you tell people like, well, why'd they do that? And then they're like, oh, you're just making excuses. It's not the excuse thing. It's just if you find the cause, you know, like if you got a bunch of cavities, I bet you ain't brushed your teeth. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's what that is. I do want to share something with you I think you might find interesting.
Sure.
Because I was thinking about it before I came over here, you know, because like you always play in your head. And,
right.
I was like, man, I want to tell him this. I think I know why I do it all. Like I'd always kind of wondered why, like, you know. And I think I figured it out. And it's different than what you might think. Like, I think I wanted to share this with you. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. So I remember what I felt like at 15 to 17 to 18 years old. Like, I remember what I felt like. And you might be like, yeah, okay, we all do. No, but like, I remember what I felt like when nobody was there. You know, like where you're kind of like wondering about things and you're thinking like, you know, and my dad was in and out of my life, and when he was there, sometimes it was great, and sometimes it was very not great, like the opposite of great. Like it was very bad for a while there, especially at those ages, you know. And I kept finding myself like looking for answers, you know, like, and I didn't even realize it, you know. But like I would always watch my friends' dads, because of sports, I got to hang out with some pretty good friends, And so, like, if it wasn't for sports, like, my whole life would be different, So then I thought, like, well, man, I need to be doing sports and helping kids that way, because Coach Pixley really helped me, and Eric Kropf and Steve Taylor and these other wonderful people, Roy Dooley, all these other wonderful people that helped me for no reason. Like, I don't know why they helped me. Like, I don't know. They always liked me. I don't know why. Like, I don't know. I was a good kid, but, like, still honoring everything. But those people took a liking to me and helped me when I didn't like myself that much, and I realized that, like, they were kind of that bridge for me. See, I used to give them all the credit. It was so dumb in my head. Steve Taylor finally said, dude, you're the one doing it. Like, give yourself the credit. But I used to give them all the credit. But it was just that I realized, like, I wouldn't have had the opportunities, or I wouldn't have done the things that I did if it wasn't for that. All they did was just bridge the gap for me to go they just leveled the playing field. Like, so then I had some opportunities that I wouldn't have had otherwise. And I know that. Like, I know that. Like, my dad was a bad dude, man. Like, he was a good person, but like he wasn't out there making business deals, or we weren't making a bunch of money, like, I mean, and it's okay, because I can hunt and fish, like, really well, and, like, all those other things, it's cool. But, like, I remember what that felt like. And then, like, and I realized that, like, then I watched through JAG and through sports. See, football filled that void until I learned about JAG, and then JAG kind of did. And then, dude, like, it's amazing. Like, what if you knew you had the power, not power, like, if you had the influence to help somebody bridge and change their entire life? Like, if you knew you had that, like, you knew that was your thing that you could do, and then you intentionally kept it to yourself, like, that would be the most selfish thing ever. That, you're like, hey, I go talk to these 2 or 3 people and provide a couple opportunities for these people to learn that their self isn't so bad and they can improve on it, right? And then you do it, and then you watch it happen in real time. Now, sometimes it fails. Like, you know what I'm saying? Some kids can't get it, Aaron. But when you know that you could do it, like, I'm not being cocky here. Like, I've just watched it happen over and over and over again. And so, dude, it's awful selfish not to try to do that. And so now it's more of, like, just doing it because it's the right thing to do, and that I want to do it. Like, I want to help those kids because I want to, because I can see the good that could come from it. And that's why I like Kickstart, because think about it, like, if you're at church, there's a lot of red tape, dude. You got to make sure all these other people are happy, or if you work for a big business or you work for a school, you know how it is. You got to make sure, or even, like, whatever it is, there's so many other people, let's run it through this department. Let's get this approved. And I was like, man, I want to be those departments. I want to see if I can do this. And it's been so fun, Darren. It's been so fun, because, like, I've learned so much. Like, I get to talk to people in town, like business people. Like, I learned how the Chamber of Commerce works, because I'm just some regular dude who's coaching and didn't do that before. I got to learn how that works. Like, all these things, because we're a nonprofit member of them here in Kennett. And then, but the cool part is, like, I almost took if they weren't selling stuff today, I'd have at least 1 or 2 Kickstart kids sitting here watching how this works, because then you take them, and then they get to see you do all those things and be a part of it. And so then they learn how to do it. And it's crazy. It's crazy how it works. It's so much fun, dude.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Andrew Webster, founder of the Kickstart Academy here in Kennett, longtime JAG instructor, also a longtime coach. And it sounds like, Andrew, your love of sports, and, you reach out to sports, but you also even want to say, hey, if you're a member of a band, if you're a member of an FFA, just be part of a group. Sometimes it's just good to be a part of an organization that cares about you, correct?
Yeah. Well, we had okay, I'm just going to tell you, like, I hope this doesn't hurt any of our people, but, like, I don't care, because it's such a good story. Okay, so our neighbor, right? Okay, so our neighbor works at Grateful Heads here in town, okay?
Right.
The marijuana store. And so, anywho, but she had a daughter who was really struggling mentally, like a lot. Like, they were, like, a lot. And my daughters talked her into going out for cheerleading, okay? So she made the team. Like, that was great. And then they talked her into going to youth at Methodist Youth, which is great. And then she wanted to help a little bit with Kickstart, also great. But that lady came to me, and she said, you don't know what you guys have done for my kid. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, because, to us, it's like, because we don't know the backstory. We just know, hey, the kid's trying out for cheerleading. Oh, cool. Now the kid's coming to youth. Oh, cool. Now she's going to be with us in the float and be a part of Kickstart. That's great. the Grateful Heads donated in the middle of the summer. They donated out of nowhere. She got them to donate $500 to Kickstart Academy because of all the wonderful things that had happened to her daughter. And so you might be like, so hear me out on this though. Okay. So if those are good people that want to donate to good, positive things, they said, we are so thankful that you'll take this and do good with it. So think about it. Like if there's got to be more than just one place in town that has people like that want to do good and want to give good, but they don't know where to do it, or you know what I mean?
Right.
Because dude, they were thankful of us for them helping us, like you know what I mean? Like
absolutely,
that was pretty cool. Like so, I don't know if that's good or bad, but the truth is, like, they were just nice people who wanted to help the youth too. You know, so I mean, I don't know how that looks or whatever, but it's the truth. You know.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Andrew Webster, founder of Kickstart Academy. And Andrew, that kind of leads me to the next question. If someone's interested in donating money to the Kickstart Academy, or wanting to give some free services or do something for Kickstart Academy, how can they do that?
Yeah, that's kind of the next step of this, you know. And we're ready to get some help. You know, these events like coming up, like every bit that helps. Like let's say somebody wanted to donate. Like, okay, so let's say they donated some food for the event, or they wanted to donate like some money for the event. Well, all that, however that would come in, you know, it would just lower the cost. Like, let's say they wanted to donate biscuits or something, you know, and then we didn't have to buy as many biscuits. So then ultimately the youth could keep the money there. Or what if they wanted to volunteer to help serve or whatever, you know, then they just get a hold of me. Or on our website, we have a Kickstart Academy Facebook account, and my email or my phone number, everything's on there, and you can just reach out through there. And we want people to, we want to be that. We want to be a place where they could come, because, like, you know, we don't have a church, and we're not doing like that. We're just teaching them skills that Jesus used in his life, and then, you know, the work skills and the self-improvement skills. But yeah, they just reach out through Facebook and all that. And
so is it my understanding it's just Kickstart Academy on the Facebook page, and they can become a member and join in, and then they can contact Andrew Webster. Again, we're welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590. Talking to Andrew Webster, the founder of Kickstart Academy. If you're wanting to donate, this is an outstanding cause. You know, this is something that's very near and dear to my heart. You know, just reaching out to the kids who are considered, you know, like you say, not a hand out, it's a hand up.
Right, yeah.
And that's a lot of people kind of, you know, they look at it in a different way than they should, because a lot of these kids, no fault of their own, they just need an assistance.
Yeah, like, and like two of them, like, here's the thing, like, if they come in, right, and then it looks like it's starting to turn to a hand out rather than a hand up, and we talk to them, like, they agree, they sign paperwork when they come in to be like a full-time kid with this, you know. Like, if their attitude and the way they speak to each other, if they don't adhere to what we're doing, like, you know, after a while we have to ask them to move on, because that's when it gets scary. Like, when, you know, I tell them, like, you can't take advantage in a negative way of what we're doing, because then you don't learn anything, and then it just reinforces, you know, negative behaviors. So we've had two that's been like that, but we've had probably 8 or 9, you know, come in throughout the summer, and, you know, 2 of them just moved on. And we've had 2, like, one of these kids, like, it's crazy. In June, dude, she wouldn't talk to nobody. Like, she would do the work. Like, you know, when we were trimming hedges or mowing or whatever, she'd work, but, like, she wasn't talking to nobody. And then now she has a job, like, at a restaurant. Like, it's crazy how it works, man. It doesn't take as much as people think sometimes, because if the kid's hungry, right? Like, if the kid really does want to do it, and you figure out who that kid is, dude, you meet a couple needs, you show them they're safe, and then they just run with it themselves. And that's where I think everybody could help. Like, oh, you want to help meet a couple needs, instead of, like, making them become dependent, you know, then, you just, like I said, the hand up part, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Again, I want to welcome the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590. Talking to Andrew Webster, the founder of the Kickstart Academy, longtime educator, coach in the area. Also was the JAG basically leader for almost a decade. Really did a lot to develop that program here in Kennett. And we talk a lot about what's going on. And we talked about the event that's going to be November 1st at the American Legion building, starting at 10 o'clock with the breakfast. Is that correct?
8 to 10.
8
that
to 10
morning.
with the
Yes,
breakfast
sir.
as a breakfast. Then Nelson Pettigrew is going to come in and play some saxophone. There's going to be blow-ups, things for the kids to do. Then that evening, there's going to be a wrestling event. And forgive me for not knowing this exactly, but I did see that you guys were holding your belts on the Facebook Live. So I'm hoping that, are you the Intercontinental Champion or are you just the Webster Backyard Champion? What exactly was that about, Andrew?
Oh goodness, that's funny. I don't know. Let me tell you something else on this. You'll think this is neat. Okay, so like I told you, my brother, my brother's got cerebral palsy. He had it his whole life, right?
And I want to tell you this: my all my kids have went to school at Kennett, so they're very familiar with you and your brother, and they really, 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 like your brother a lot. I think, isn't he an aide at the school? Is that correct?
Yeah, he aides out in the special ed department, and man, he really cares about them kids. And it's really cool because before everybody would see the stuff that I was doing, and now that I'm at the alternative school, and my school role isn't it's a very important role over there, but it's not as public as some of the other roles I've had. And so my brother's really been working hard with he's got a niche with some of those other kids. Some of the kids that I can't reach, for whatever reason, he does a really good job of really helping them and, kind of directing them the right way and helping them. And some of those kids will eventually be Kickstart kids. There's a couple that he's trying to bring on. We had one that worked with us just this summer who's now at Culver Stockton playing football, but he was one of Chris's kids. And Chris, and it worked out great. He was a great kid. But anywho, yeah, so the pre-party show, so the wrestling belt. So my brother, he loves wrestling. That's his thing. He loves wrestling like I love football. And anyways, he was going to try to do something his whole life with professional wrestling. Even with cerebral palsy, he was trying to do it, and it just didn't work out for whatever reason. And so then he started his own YouTube channel with it, and it was really just him and his friends messing around. And it kind of grew into some more. He's got almost 700 subscribers. And, I don't know if that's a huge number or not. I don't think it really cares because he just does it for fun. And then I'll go on there with him because it's my brother. And it's really interesting about well, why would you do that with him? I even did it when I was the football coach, and they'd be they would frown at that. But Chris doesn't hunt real well and he only fishes every once in a while. So it's either do some things that he's into and have a good relationship with your brother, or just kind of, we wouldn't have anything to do hardly. And so I've always just done that with Chris, and that was why, and so yeah, it's fun. So I don't know, neither one of us right now are holding any of his titles, but dude, that was pretty fun smashing them belts together.
Absolutely. I really enjoyed it. Again, I want to welcome the Luke with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Andrew Webster from the Kickstart Academy. We talked about the November 1st event. Are there other events that we need to talk about that the Kickstart Academy's got planned right now, or are we still in the planning stages of things?
So Kickstart Academy and Methodist Youth, so both of them, will be a part of the Small Town Christmas. We'll have a booth over there, and we're helping run some stuff for that. We have, we're going to win the Christmas. Oh, what is that? The Christmas crafts. You know what I'm talking about? The bazaar. Yeah, we need to get signed up, and we're going to be a part of that as well. And so we're kind of trying to make it through November 1st for now. And then after that, we made some stuff with spin art, which is really cool. Because it's fun and anybody can do it, but you just have to have the setup, which most people don't have the setup, so we built the setups and stuff, and we do the spin art. And so what we're trying to do is, after this November thing, we're going to use some of the money we get from that to create ways to get Christmas presents cheaper here in town. And you might be like, well, what do you mean? So we're going to use the spin art for some experiences and come to people, and then they could sign up and do the experience with us. And we'll have cookies, hot chocolate. And then my kids have to learn more social skills and how to do all that. And then we also have, we're making our own spin art and selling it. And it's really cool because if you tie it to something people like, then you really, so the spin art, you put it on the thing, and dude, it's hypnotizing almost to see it spin and the different ways you can do it. It's been so fun. So we were selling them and it was going okay. But then I slapped a Dallas Cowboys sticker on one of them, and then everybody wanted it. So we bought the sticker, and we put the sticker on the spin art, and then everybody wants it. So we can kind of do about whatever you want because we're, the way we're buying it and the way we're doing it that way. And so there's these little bitty, you can buy them on the internet for $30, and they're little. They're I don't know, 10 by 10 squares for $30. And then we can make the exact same thing in Kennett right here. And we're making 16 by 20s and selling them to people for $30. So you get more for less. But then we also were like, well, what if somebody wanted like a Chiefs one or a Cowboys one or whatever? So we found a $10 way to sell them as well. So you could they're smaller. Those are the 10 by 10 squares. And we use spray paint to make a cool design on them. And then the kids spray paint the logo of whatever they want over the top of it. We have they're a little more limited on who we have, but then I've got the kids making those. So then they're learning like the skills to make them. I tell you, the craziest thing we did was probably the first thing we did. So like the kids, I was like, well, we're going to have to work outside and we got to teach you how to work. And when we started, we only had one girl to start with. And now we're kind of more girls than boys right now. But I was like, all right, we're going to build something, you know? And so we had to like get wood, and we built like this outdoor kitchen thing in my backyard. Cause I was like, you know, we're going to eat together sometimes and stuff when we do our lessons. And we didn't want to do that in the kitchen every time. You guys know how girlfriends and wives are. They want their things nice and clean. And, you know, it's the funniest thing. They want their houses to look like no one lives there, even when people live there, you know? And so, you know, it is what it is. I can't talk my wife out of that either. It doesn't work. Like, she's like, no. And so anyways, we built this little outdoor kitchen thing, and we put the griddle in there. And so now we had to do it. So we're talking kids have never used like a hammer, much less like a saw or anything. So then we got to teach them all these different things. And dude, it was so cool. Like, it was so cool.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590. Talking to Andrew Webster, winding down here a little bit, about 3 or 4 minutes left. And we're talking about the Kickstart Academy that he has founded here in the area. Talking about the November 1st event that's going to come at the American Legion in Kennett. 8 to 10 will be a breakfast. There will also be Nelson Pettigrew. Will be playing the saxophone. I'm assuming you can get on YouTube, and he is one. Is he as good as Clarence Clemens, or is it a little bit different? You know, the guy from Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band.
Well, I mean, I don't know if he's that good, but dude, he's good.
He's good.
Like, he's good. I mean,
out.
We're talking like he's going to play gospel music. He's going to play like other music on the saxophone. I mean, this is like the fact that this guy's going to be in here playing. Like, it's a big deal. I just don't know if everyone knows it yet or not. I mean, it's a big deal that he's coming.
And you need to come out and get tickets for that. There'll also be blow-ups for the kids. And then that evening, there'll be a meet and greet. There'll also be a wrestling event. And the wrestling promotion that's coming will be
the American Hostile Championship Wrestling. So I think they're out of Tennessee.
And you need to come for that event. And as we're kind of winding down here on KDX AM 1590 with Welcome to Booth with Darren Todd, Andrew, is there anything that you'd like to leave the listeners with before? Obviously, anyone who wants to donate or see more about the Kickstart Academy can get on the Facebook page. They can look that up. Has the information about how to contact Andrew, how to email him, things of that nature. If you want to donate, also, this is an outstanding situation, or I don't even know how to express it. It's something that's severely needed in the area, and I'm extremely excited that Andrew is doing this. So please get on there and donate your time, your money, your goods, your services, because it's well worth it. Andrew, I'm going to leave you with this. You got about 1 minute. Is there anything you want to leave the listeners with?
Yeah, you know, when we set everything up, we're based like a 508c1a, so like we have an EIN number, like we're real, like we're a real thing. It's not, you know, and we're all set up. You know, I really do invite everybody to want to be a part of it. Like, I'm trying to figure out win-win scenarios. Like, so like, let's say these people do want to donate and be a part of it. Well, then they just come to the events too. Like, you know, like you can either donate beforehand, or you can, you know, like, hey, like showing up to one of our events is basically also saying like, hey, I support the youth in the area. Because none of the money is leaving, like, other than us having to go get supplies from like Sam's Club or whatever, like all the money that's made stays right in Kennett, because you know what we're going to do? We're either going to provide cool services for people, like we did the mowing and the spin art and everything, or we're going to host cool events that people could come be a part of. So like literally it's a win-win for everybody. Just come on and be a part of it, because you're more than welcome, and we'd love for you to too.
And again, this is Darren Todd, and welcome to the booth, KDX AM 1590, winding down with Andrew Webster from the Kickstart Academy. November 1st, American Legion starts at 8 to 10 for breakfast, and then there will be wrestling that evening. Nelson Pettigrew will be playing the saxophone, a must-see event. Don't say there's nothing to do in Southeast Missouri. Put this on your calendar. You must come out and check it out. Absolutely unbelievable. And on behalf of my producer, Misty Hankins, my executive producer, Evan Todd, I'd like to thank you for making us part of your day. Hope you have a great afternoon and a better tomorrow.